Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk und ich bin noch immer in München und jetzt haben wir nicht Lithium, auch wenn es fast so anschauen, Lithoquest, es ist Diamanten, Diamonds. Bruce, diamonds, girls' best friends?
Yes,
Still?
I believe.
Yes, I believe too. It's only expensive. But diamonds, it's growing. The market. I saw this by some other clients what we have, that diamonds are in favor of the market. Where is your project and how it looks like?
So the project itself is located in northwestern Australia, and we're very early stage, grassroots, if you will. So the earliest stages of exploration, but we have some very compelling evidence that there's a field of diamond-bearing rocks. So diamond, the primary source for diamond is a rock called kimberlite, which is a rare type of volcano that almost always occur in clusters or fields. So a field of kimberlites might be a few kimberlites or more than 100. So in this place where we're exploring, we have very compelling evidence that there's a field of diamond-bearing kimberlites on the project. And in our first year of exploration, we've discovered our first kimberlite.
Okay, so this kimberlite has also diamonds in, or I know exactly that sometimes kimberlites are not having diamonds in, but really often they have one. Do you have indications?
Well, we certainly have indications that there are diamond-bearing kimberlites on the project.
Okay.
The kimberlite that we've discovered, we have just sent to the laboratory for analysis. So we will find out whether or not there are diamonds in that rock before the middle of December of 2018.
Okay. I know that the diamond exploration is a little bit different to other commodities.
Yes.
So how the exploration in diamond works?
Well, so first, the first task is to discover the kimberlite, and then once you've discovered a kimberlite, diamonds occur in very small quantities in the rock. For example, in Canada's first diamond mine, it is 1 carat of diamond per ton of rock. That is 0.2 grams of diamond for every ton of rock, so very small quantities. So the way we evaluate is to take increasingly larger samples. In the first instance, we take a couple of 100 kilos, so 200 kilos perhaps, and we now analyze that for microdiamonds, so the small diamonds. If that comes back with an impressive or important result, then you would go back and take a larger sample. It's called mini bulk sample. So that would be 50 tons, maybe to 200 tons. Then you will take, that will give you a parcel of macrodiamonds, so large stones that you can take to Antwerp, and they will value the stones, and then it gives you your first indications of value per ton of rock. And then it's just about taking larger and larger samples to make sure that the economics are robust and that it's an economic deposit.
So that sounds like that the exploration of diamonds, if you find a kimberlite, is easier than at gold or silver or something like that?
In some ways, because in gold or copper or silver, you must not only find where the gold is, but you have to sort of chase it, to find the structures, where is it coming from, complicated geometries. Whereas the kimberlite, it's a volcano, so once you've discovered the volcano, it's shaped like a carrot, yes? Yeah. And so once you've discovered the volcano, it's just a matter of evaluating the volcano. So the big part of the first challenge is to find the volcano. And then it's a matter of just taking larger and larger samples of that. You don't have to spend too much time figuring out geometry because it's relatively simple compared to gold or copper.
Okay, so that's mean the most important part is to find kimberlites, then you take bulk samples.
That's right.
They get bigger and bigger.
Yes.
When only interesting question for me, but how difficult is it to analyze this? Then when you're looking really for 0.2 gram per ton, you're looking really for a tiny little thing.
Correct. So it's important to take larger and larger samples. It becomes about statistics. So larger and larger samples is really important. And that's the only way you can evaluate a kimberlite and to see whether or not it has economic quantities of diamond. But I think it's also really important to understand that these kimberlites always occur in clusters or fields. So you need to find all the kimberlites, because the first kimberlite you find might have a few diamonds but not an economic quantity. But there might be others in the field that are economic. So it's very important to discover all of the kimberlites kimberlites and evaluate them when you're in a field of kimberlites. I can give you an example. At Hecate, which is Canada's first diamond mine, there are 150 kimberlites in that field. About 8% of those kimberlites are economic. Almost all of them have some diamonds. But it took, you have to figure out which ones are the ones that have economics. That's very important.
And how long take it normally from the starting of exploration to say, okay, I have now enough material or enough data that I can say, okay, this is economic kimberlite?
Well, it can happen very quickly. We've made our discovery this year. If the microdiamond sample that we have now got at the laboratory is positive, then we can be taking that mini bulk sample in 2019. If that's positive, then we can move very quickly into the big bulk sample, and that's almost like trial mining. So, we could making the determination if that kimberlite is economic within 18 months.
Okay.
It happens very quickly.
How the permitting stuff is looking like? When you drill a hole, it's only a drill, and in the end you don't see something. But when you take a large bulk sample, you're going down and you have produce a hole.
Yes.
Is this different from the permitting side, or is it easy?
Well, I think that depends on your jurisdiction. Obviously, where we are working in Western Australia, they have a history of permitting mines and moving mines forward. So we're pretty confident that the permitting process is you can navigate that without too much difficulty. Obviously, you need to take care with your environmental footprint and do as little damage as possible. I think that's for any mining company. Also very important to engage local communities, and so they understand what is going on and that they participate as well.
You say normally kimberlites are not alone, they are in a field.
Yes.
What you're doing with all the other potential kimberlites in your field? So the one is the one kimberlite what you find, but what is with the other ones?
Well, we have to. For us, the discovery of our first kimberlite tells us that there are probably more, because they almost always occur in fields. So an important part of our company going forward is to discover all of those other kimberlites that might be in that field. So we will spend some time and energy looking for those other kimberlites, but also evaluating the kimberlites that we've found. So that's how you can progress your project.
Okay, coming to details, what you're planning for the next 12 months?
So we, as I mentioned, we have our first kimberlite is at the laboratory, and we're waiting for the analysis. If that is a positive, we will take a larger sample from that in 2019. If it's has some diamonds, but perhaps not enough to really make you want to take a larger sample, then the big push will be for finding the other kimberlites. But regardless of whether or not the first kimberlite we found is looking good, we will always be looking for the rest of the kimberlites in the field. And I say that because we have very strong evidence that the kimberlites here, some of them are going to be very highly diamond bearing. So we need to find the very best kimberlites in the field. So that is a very important component of our project in 2019.
What are you planning in size of money for the next 12 months to spend?
Well, so for the exploring for new kimberlites, I expect we will spend about what we spent in 2018, which is between sort of $2 and $3 million in exploring. If the kimberlite we've discovered is very encouraging and we want to take a larger sample, that would probably include another $2 million on top of that.
Okay.
So somewhere between $2 and $5 million, depending on the results of the kimberlite we've drilled.
Okay, this brings me to the share structure and the cash. What do you have?
We have about $2 million in treasury. We have, the company is very new. We've been trading for less than a year, so it's a very new company. We have 46 million shares outstanding, but I think really important is that we have very supportive shareholders. This includes a fund called Rosso Asset Management, which is managed by Warren Irwin in Toronto. This company owns 15% of our shares, and a gentleman named Eric Sprott owns also 10%. So, and they have both expressed an interest in maintaining their percentage in the company as we go forward, so they would like to participate in any future financings. So we have $2 million now. If we spend sort of between 3 and 5, we would be going back to the market for another few $1 million. But again, we have very supportive shareholders, including Eric Sprott and Warren Irwin, that will continue to participate in all financings.
So, Bruce, thank you for the first introduction to your company.
My pleasure.
Next time, when you maybe come over or we meet us on the PDEC or something, or when I'm in Vancouver, it would be a pleasure when we can do another round of interview.
Yes.
Ja, Diamanten. Und er hat es sehr gut erklärt und wir haben auch sehr viel über die Diamanten und die Exploration von Diamanten gesprochen. Erna Projekt ist in Australien. Und sie haben in Australien jetzt den ersten Kimberlit gefunden und der Kimberlit ist normalerweise nie einzeln, sondern immer in Feldern. Es kann sein, dass es dort 10 sind, aber es kann auch sein, dass dort 150 Kimberlit sein. Und sie müssen halt jetzt die finden, die wirtschaftlich sind. Er hat einen Vergleich auch gezogen zu der ersten kanadischen Diamantmine, die hat damals rund 150 Kimberlits gehabt, aber 8% davon waren wirtschaftlich interessant. So, und wie funktioniert diese Exploration selber? Man sucht einmal zuerst einmal den Kimberlit, das muss man einmal finden, und dann nimmt man immer größere Proben. Zuerst so 100, 200 Kilo, dann ist man ein paar Tonnen und dann immer größer sozusagen, damit man dann quasi sieht, wie viel Mikrodiamanten und Diamanten sind da drin. Und das Problem ist, zum Beispiel wieder ein Vergleich mit der ersten kanadischen Mine, sie suchen 1 Karat quasi pro Tonne. 1 Karat ist 0,2 Gramm. Das heißt, bei einer Tonne sind 0,2 Gramm Diamanten drin. Das Verhältnis muss man sich einmal anschauen. Man sucht dann nicht nur die Nadel im Heuhaufen, das ist also schon deutlich weniger. Also das ist genau das Problem. Und deswegen nimmt man immer größere Proben. Die Geologie ist sehr einfach, weil das normalerweise, also das ist eine Karotte quasi, die runtergeht, weil es halt ein Schlot ist von einem speziellen Vulkan quasi, der halt Diamanten enthält. Und den suchen sie und das ist das Wichtigste und dann müssen sie schauen, ob der wirtschaftlich ist oder nicht. Bei dem ersten Kimberlit haben sie die Ergebnisse jetzt einmal abgeliefert, die sollen mitten Dezember kommen und dann wollen sie dementsprechend weitergehen. Wenn die ersten Ergebnisse sehr gut sind, dann wollen sie eine zweite Runde machen, wo sie größere Samples nehmen, wo man dann schon von ein paar Tonnen spricht und die dann dementsprechend wieder analysiert und so arbeitet man sie langsam vor und deswegen kann so eine Produktion relativ oder seine Weiterentwicklung sehr schnell gehen, weil man halt einfach immer größere Proben nimmt und dann ist man quasi bald einmal in Produktion. Neben diesen einen Kimberlit versuchen sie natürlich nächstes Jahr das Feld zu erkunden, um noch mehr dieser Kimberlit zu finden und diese auch zu testen. Geplant ist Investitionen zwischen 2 und 3 Millionen, um diese neuen zu finden und gut, je nachdem wie die Ergebnisse sind, 2 Millionen für den einen Kimberlit, den sie jetzt gefunden haben. Aktionärstruktur ist dadurch, dass die junge Company ist sehr eng. Sie haben 2 große Aktionäre, einer davon ist der Eric Sprott, der die Company quasi auch mitfinanzieren will und auch dementsprechend weiterfinanzieren will. Und das ist eigentlich die Story. Das heißt, Mitte Dezember kommen die ersten Diamantergebnisse. Wenn die gut sind, wird das Projekt weiterverfolgt, beziehungsweise der Kimberlit verfolgt und dort eine nächste Großprobe genommen. Und nebenbei werden die anderen das Feld untersucht für weitere Kimberlits, weil es bis jetzt immer so war, dass es nicht ein Kimberlit gibt, sondern immer mehrere rundherum. Das kommt einfach aus der Geologie. Und das war es jetzt von Lithoquest Diamonds Inc. Im November München 2018. Tschüss und Baba. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you very much.